Welcome. Welcome to the new Supernaturalist podcast. I'm your host, Shelley Meyer. I am obsessed with all things supernatural, the TV show. As you can see, I decided to create a podcast about the monsters of Supernatural because I don't think they get the credit they deserve. So today, we're diving into the world of the supernatural, specifically the world of the Supernatural TV show. In the first episode of season 1, we were introduced to one of the most chilling spirits in the series, a ghost who has become an icon in horror TV. I'm talking about the woman in white, played by Sarah Shahi. Now, if you've seen the first episode of Supernatural, and if you're a fan, you have seen all episodes of Supernatural. You know the woman in white has a spine-tingling presence. And her story is as tragic as it is terrifying. So today, let's break down the lore behind the woman in white, how her story began, and what her motives are. And of course, we'll touch on exactly how she can be stopped. Let's start with a little background. In the Supernatural TV show, the woman in white is introduced to us as a vengeful spirit who lures men to their deaths by seducing them, only to kill them when she proves they are unfaithful. But while her story starts as a terrifying encounter for Sam and Dean Winchester, her tale is rooted in much deeper, older myth, one that has been told and retold across different cultures and generations. Now, no one is certain if these stories are true, but they're fun to listen to. So the woman in white is just not just a character from Supernatural. She's a part of a larger lore of spirits that are known for their tragic deaths and their hauntings. There are variations of the story across different regions, but the most famous version follows a woman who died because of betrayal or heartbreak. Now, the woman in white's origins are tied to a tragic love story. In the Supernatural episode, we learn that this once beautiful young woman living in a small town of Jericho, California, she lives with her husband and 2 children, and she's looking forward to a happy life and a bright future. However, her life takes a dark turn when she finds out that her husband's been cheating on her. In her despair, she goes temporarily insane and drowns her children in the bathtub, but then takes her own life when she realizes what she has done, and she jumps off a bridge. But here's the twist. She doesn't rest in peace. Instead, her spirit becomes vengeful, not just against the man who wronged her, but against all men she believes have been or could potentially become unfaithful. Her tragedy, and the way her life was stolen from her, manifests as rage, which drives her to haunt the living, men. In the Supernatural series, she's described as a woman who, after death, lures men into her grasp with her beauty and asks them to take her home. When they do, she kills them. In this episode, it's revealed that she was a woman scorned by the man she loved. Her betrayal twisted her into something much darker, a spirit who haunts anyone who reminds her of her heartbreak she suffered. The lore is a little bit different, though. When she was alive, her love was unrequited, and when she died, she was left alone forever. So, what is her modus operandi, the MO? What exactly does the woman in white do? How does she operate? Her method is pretty straightforward, but really terrifying. She's a ghost who haunts roadsides. often near bridges, and lures unsuspecting men to their deaths by appearing to them as a beautiful woman dressed in a white gown. She uses her allure to convince men to stop and help her, seducing them with her apparent vulnerability. Once the man seems to be interested in her, thinking he's going to save her by taking her home, that's when the woman in white strikes. She pulls the man into her embrace and then kills him. In some versions of the myth, she's even been known to kill her victims by dragging them into a body of water, symbolizing her children's death and her own. In the supernatural universe, we see her lure victims into her trap in a similar way. She appears as a beautiful woman at night, standing on the side of the road, often in a ghostly white gown, and then she turns on them. What's even more sinister is her ability to appear vulnerable, making her seem like someone who needs help before she turns deadly. So why did she do it? At the heart of the woman in white's lore is betrayal. She was a woman who trusted, loved, and ultimately gave her life to someone who didn't return her feelings. And that deep betrayal shaped who she became. The anger and grief she felt in life were so intense that they carried over into her death, which created a powerful, vengeful spirit. After her death, she became consumed with rage, which often happens with vengeful spirits. They can't find peace, they can't move on, and they stay in the veil, and the anger overwhelms them. Not only at the man who caused her pain, but also at the very man who crosses her path. Every single man. Her actions are driven by that intense desire for revenge, and as we see in Supernatural, this unchecked rage manifests in her supernatural abilities, making her a formidable foe for Sam and Dean. Her story also speaks to the broader cultural fear of unrequited love and betrayal, making her a universal figure in folklore. She's the embodiment of unresolved grief and the terror of being betrayed by someone you love, only to find yourself alone and powerless in the end. So, how can the woman in white be killed? Now, as much as she's a terrifying force, the woman in white can be stopped. And thankfully for Sam and Dean, they know how to handle vengeful spirits like her. In the show, the key to stopping the woman in white is taking her home, which is exactly what Sam does. He drives the Impala into her house, and the woman in white is forced to face what she has done. In folklore, however, her power is tied to her remains. By salting and burning her bones, it is released and finds peace or goes to hell. In the woman in white's situation, she goes to hell. Burning the bones of a vengeful spirit is a common method for dealing with spirits in the supernatural universe. Once the bones are destroyed, the spirit is freed, and the haunting ceases. In the case of the woman in white, her tragic end becomes the source of her destruction. It's almost poetic when you think about it. She was betrayed in life and in death. It's her own guilt that leads to her ultimate release. So, in summary, the woman in white's story is one of love, betrayal, and revenge. A beautiful woman ends her life because of grief, her spirit twisted by anger into something much darker. Her method? Luring men to their deaths under the guise of vulnerability. But like all supernatural beings, she can be defeated. As always, Supernatural is great at mixing folklore with fresh new twists, and The Woman in White is one of the show's best examples of how traditional ghost stories are brought to life with a unique modern take. Now that's it for the first episode of Supernaturalist. I hope you enjoyed this dive into the chilling lore of the Woman in White. Please make sure to subscribe to my Patreon. Please like and share if you can. And join me next Saturday for another deep dive into the supernatural, the unexplained, and everything in between. Until then, stay informed and stay curious. Have a great day.